UFC 272 this Saturday in Las Vegas had some great fights. So let's go and recap the main card of the evening because there were some, oh my god, there were some amazing fights. A lot of good fighters. Stacked card, great fights. Let's start with the first and obvious because we will not go into the Greg Hardy's fight because right now he's just being finished and it's basically just a normal occurrence. And I don't know what he's still doing in the main card, but let's be it. Let's start with the first, Kevin Holland and Alex Oliveira. This was one of those fights that Kevin Holland was a very entertaining guy and he was coming out of one non-contest fight and 2 losses against Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori in middleweight. But he went down to welterweight because he was some kind of a smaller middleweight and you could see that he was really struggling against Brunson and Vettori because they're just bigger and just wrestled him, manhandled him, and it was over. Even though they are the top opponents in the middleweight and potential title contenders, Kevin Holland just didn't look good in those fights. So going to the welterweight, he now has a very big frame and he's a very tall guy for welterweight. So this weight class might be really good for him. Alex Oliveira was, some sort of a journeyman and he was basically just thrown to him to basically Kevin Holland was supposed to win very easily and he did. It was an impressive KO right down the middle and it was just, I was very impressed with him and I want to see what can he do in a welterweight because welterweight is also pretty stacked division. I would like to see him against someone in a top 10 in his next fight. Another fight that was on the main card was Edson Barboza and versus Bryce Mitchell. And guys, Bryce Mitchell is my next favorite fighter. He is so amazing. He's so respectful, so nice, and he's just being himself. He's this farm guy from Arkansas, and he's just being himself. He's good, his stand-up is solid, his wrestling is good, he's undefeated, and he's just pure-hearted man, and that's amazing. He doesn't talk trash, he goes in prepared. The embedded videos were amazing about him. I mean, this guy is pure entertainment. And there is one more thing that really sold me on him. And that in a post-fight interview, he said that he tried to check leg kicks against Barboza, but it didn't work out. And he couldn't check them, so he just stepped away. And this small piece of information tells you that he not only is a great fighter, but he's very well aware of what's going on through the fight. He has his emotions and adrenaline in check, which is very important, and he can make very quick and simple adaptations in a match. In a match against an OG like Barboza. That's a very good sign that not only he's a great fighter, but he has some good fighting IQ. And I really want to see more from him. Because taking down OG like Edson Barboza, who is a very skilled kickboxer and packs some heavy power, and just winning, I don't want to say winning easily, but winning convincingly, I think there was a good step up for Bryce Mitchell, and I would like to see much more from him. I want to see more embedded videos, because he's just, like there's a lot of guys that need to put on persona, but there are some guys who are just amazing just by them being themselves. Like Derek Lewis, for example. We just want to see more of them, right? And Bryce Mitchell is the same kind of guy. You just want to see more of him, and he's amazing. I like him, and I want to see him to fight another great guy in his next fight. Another fight that was a co-main event of the evening was basically Rafael dos Anjos versus Renato Moicano. This fight had a little bit of drama because RDA was supposed to fight Fiziev, but the week before the fight, he tested positive for COVID, which really sucks. And there was a lot of talks about, who can be the short-term replacement. Can it be Islam Makhachev, who at the end of the day turned it down? But then Renato Moicano stepped in. And this was one of those fights I talked about, is that it's a very big risk fight for Renato Moicano because RDA is a veteran. He has that veteran experience, even though he had a lot of losses, but he fought everyone. So if you're not going prepared into this fight, you can lose a lot and you can take a lot of damage, which at the end of the day actually happened. Renato Moicano was not ready, and I don't want to give him bad props, but it was a 1 week notice, so it was kind of expected. RDA, holy shit, he just dominated that fight. It was one-sided victory. And I kind of feel sad for Renato Moicano because he took so much damage, and I believe that the fight could have been stopped. But I think for 1 week notice fight, Renato Moicano took too much unnecessary damage. I don't think that at this point it was the fight that was worth for him. Because a lot of times when you take a short notice fight, for example, Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman in their first fight, it's a win-win scenario for the one who takes it on a short notice, right? Because if you win, oh my god, you stun the world, right? If you lose, you can say like, okay, it was a short notice fight or whatever, and you still have you have the respect of everyone because you took the fight. But in this case, RDA is ranked number 6th, and Renato Moicano took a huge risk because if he defeated RDA, he would climb the rankings super high. However, it didn't turn out that way. He took so much damage. I would like to see him, take a longer pause, longer break, recoup, because we've seen some very impressive finishes from him, and I don't want to see his talent to be wasted. On the other hand, RDA, impressive win, but it sucks that he is in lightweight, and lightweight is stacked division full of fucking killers. So who can he fight next? I believe that he can have his next fight can be a tighter eliminator match, because now most likely we're gonna see there's an obvious title match between Oliveira and Gaethje. Then the winner of that fight would take on Makhachev. However, what do you do next, right? Because there is a lot of killers. There's Michael Chandler, there is Conor coming back, there is Dustin, So what do you do with all those titles? And then there is RDA right behind them. So I believe if Islam Makhachev fights the winner of Oliveira versus Gaethje, I believe that if RDA takes a longer break, he could fight someone who is next in the line for the winner of Makhachev versus Gaethje or Makhachev versus Oliveira. And that could be Bernard Dariush, that could be McGregor, Chandler, Dustin, all of them. All of them are... The division is just so completely stacked, like all of those fights make sense and all of those fights are fucking amazing. So what do you do? I don't know. RDA, impressive victory. Renato Moicano, I hope he takes break, takes some time, recoups, and comes back stronger. Now let's move to the main event. And oh my god, what a fight. What a drama and what a story. You have Colby Covington going against Jorge Masvidal. They used to be teammates. They used to spar together. They called each other best friend. That itself a story. That story is insane because also the personalities and the skill set of both guys. Jorge Masvidal used to be this journeyman who basically revived his career in the past 3 years with the insane KOs, insane victories, and had 2 chances at the title against Kamaru Usman. Colby Covington never lost before he fought Kamaru Usman. So both guys were almost at their best. However, Jorge Masvidal is already 37 years old, so he said he felt it during the fight. But Colby is another beast. I mean, there is always levels. People say the Kamaru Usman is the next level, right? Then you have Colby Covington, and then very slowly behind it you have Jorge Masvidal. They are very close when it comes to skill set. They are very close when it comes to fight IQ. It's just there is levels. One is always just a little bit ahead of the other, and that's how the fight looked like. Jorge Masvidal had some good moments in the striking, but Colby was just always a little bit ahead. He utilized his wrestling and he utilized his striking because if there is this threat of a takedown, you can use it for your benefit so much in the striking department because the guys are always afraid of the takedown. You are not as relaxed, you are not as fluid because you always expect for someone to take you down. So what do? This is the thing. I talked about it in one of the videos before that wrestling is so powerful that if you have some, I would say, medium level striking or intermediate striking and you are a professional wrestler, who can stop you? You can always take fight to the ground, and if you can keep it up with that threat of a takedown and have a decent boxing, you can start knocking people out like Kamaru Usman. And Colby Covington showed it. Jorge Masvidal wasn't himself the whole fight because he said also in the post-fight interview that he was afraid of the takedown, and Colby was just utilizing it. He was good, he won the fight decisively, and man, it must suck for Masvidal to lose this fight. But what do you do now? They both lost to Usman, they're both highly ranked. I would like to see Jorge Masvidal to fight someone else, and then I would like to even entertain the rematch between Colby and Masvidal. Maybe Masvidal can change something in his game, but I don't know. I don't think he can win over Colby anyway. But just the press conferences between those two guys could be worth having another fight between them. However, what is next for Colby? He lost to Kamaru Usman twice, but it was very close. Do you give him that fight again? Or do you give him some other fight? Do you give him Khamzat if he wins against Gilbert Burns? Colby Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev could be a hell of a fight if Khamzat wins against Gilbert Burns. Otherwise, I have no clue what's gonna happen in the welterweight division because you're stuck with a dominant champion who is just lapping everyone up. So what do you do? What do you guys think? What could be the next fight for all of these guys? Did you like the event? Did you like the recap? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next one. Bye.